Hello. So next one I'm going to talk to you about is the zones of regulation. And this is a curriculum for helping kids to learn how to self-regulate and also discuss emotional control. So you'll see we have these pink binders. There's 2 of them, and they have all the zones lessons. And these are included on the left-hand shelf as soon as you walk into our storage area. So you can find them there. I'm going to kind of go through how would you use the zones of regulation curriculum, kind of show you through the binders, and then also like some examples of how you would implement this in sessions. So this is the very first binder and has this beginning page that's colored. So the very first part is basically understanding the curriculum and understanding what the zones of regulation program is. So you'll see like these basic chapter 1 is all about the program. So it also discussed like what is self-regulation. So if you really need to like educate a caregiver, it also talks about executive functioning and things. And then it also talks about the different zones. So we'll go through the zones a little bit just so you all know. So the zones are the blue zone, which you'll see up here. The blue zone, then you have the green zone, and you have the yellow zone and the red zone. So I'll read kind of through these for you all just so you all can learn about the different zones. If you have watched the alert program PowerPoint, it's very similar to this. It's just a little bit more intense and a little bit more descriptive than the alert program. So the blue zone is used to describe low states of alertness, such as one feels sad, tired, sick, or bored. This is when one's body or brain is moving slowly or sluggishly. So that's the blue zone. Then we have the green zone. And the green zone is used to describe a regulated state of alertness. A person may become calm, happy, focused, or content when in the green zone. This is a zone students generally need to be in for schoolwork or for being social. And then the green zone kind of shows control within those situations. And then we have the yellow zone. And the yellow zone is described as a heightened state of alertness. However, the person has some control when in the yellow zone. The person may be experiencing stress, anxiety, frustration, excitement, silliness, nervousness, confusion, and maybe slightly elevated emotions. And when they're in the yellow zone, they may be wiggly, squirmy, or sensory seeking. And the yellow zone is the zone where they're starting to lose some of their control. The red zone is used to describe when they're extremely heightened states of alertness. So they may be in anger, rage, explosive behavior, panic, terror, elation, and this is where someone's body is out of control. So these zones are basically compared to like different road signs throughout the curriculum. Then also like there you'll see the different colors that these zones are on too. So then it explains to you in chapter 2 how to use the curriculum. You can do it in groups, but you can also, like as in therapy, like you'll be using it on an individual basis. So you run through each of the lessons. So you'll see on here, each of these like has tabs on it. Those are the beginning of each lesson that goes with that specific part. So what you want to do is you'll want to go through the lessons as they go. I've also done some supplementary work on just like emotional identification with this program. So sometimes I'll use the pictures and then start with labeling of emotions too. So this is like just the beginning of the curriculum. Basically some information about the zones of regulation if you want to provide it with parents. And then also like some definitions like what the zones are, what triggers are, what tool strategies there are. And then you'll start into lessons. So the first lesson here is creating wall posters of the zones. So this might not be true for all of your kiddos that you need, but a lot of times we'll use this of like, okay, we're going to have the pictures and then we're going to use this red piece of paper and we're going to put all the emotions that are in the red zone. The red is a stop sign. So we kind of use these to label, and you can have kids make different things that work best for them too. And we also have Zones Bingo, which is a great resource in this. So you would work on them picking out the emotion based on the picture. So you see that this is a little higher level. Kids have to really figure out like what some of these faces are. And I would really recommend, if you're going to use this program, to actually study it yourself too, because some of them are a little confusing and a little subtle in terms of like different pieces of like facial features that are present. And then you'll have each of the zones and a page of the sheets, which are in here also for you to print off, and you can laminate them also. Then you have your lesson 2, which is the actual bingo cards. And then lesson 3 is some time for refueling, so some expected and unexpected behavior things that you can do. So I really encourage you looking through this curriculum and kind of seeing what works best for you. This is like, how do behaviors impact us around good thoughts versus uncomfortable thoughts, and these are discussions you can have with kids too. So here's some more like Zones Bingo, and you'll see like some people use dry erase markers and things on it too. And then we have all the different things. This is the Zones and Me cards. So, and then this is also an easy like zones of regulation chart that I've used with kids too, to break down like which emotions go in each category. And then here are some scenarios and like working through that. So these are just some different resources for you to use. And then which zone should I be in? So basically what this program teaches is it's okay to be in different zones. Like all of us go into blue zone, all of us go into red zone, but how do we get back to that zone and how do we self-regulate? And it's not good to stay in red zone all day. Like I don't want to be angry and aggressive all day, and that's not appropriate for a lot of the settings that we're in. So then you perspective of different areas, understanding different perspectives. So when someone might be in the blue zone, when someone might be in the yellow zone, things like that. So definitely a lot of resources in here. And then me and my zones. So really looking at when am I in certain zones, a picture of me in the blue zone, green zone, yellow zone. So this is like some stuff you can use with kids in sessions too. And then red zone over here. So then we get into like the tools there too. So there'll be some different tools in here also. And this is like a helpful idiom page. So sometimes kids with some like figurative language, this has some like different phrases that they may hear that would be kind of helpful for the different zones. Okay. And then you can also have a tracking. So if you have a parent that's really on top of it and tracks, or a kid that's higher functioning that can track too. They can track their zones across the days. So next what we're going to do is we're going to go into the second binder, which is zones lessons 9 through 18. So they're both the same design, so just look out for this design binder. That will be on the shelf. And I encourage you to make copies of this to have your own resources too, and what works for you. Okay, so we're going to go into the second binder. I'm just going to kind of show you all through. So sessions look a little different with each of these. Like I might spend a little bit of time going over like what are the emotions and how do I label them and facial expressions and things, and then go through the lessons. I might have a kid that makes it really fast through a lesson, that it might not be the most appropriate to go through every single one like really intensively. So fit it to your kid for sure. So then it talks about triggers, like what triggers emotions, like how do we get into different zones, and then really checking in, like a checking in chart for them too. And there's a little laminated one on here too if you want to check that out. And then some tools to explore like calming down techniques and sensory techniques and what works for them. And then they have like different breathing exercises in here. And then tools for calming. So you'll have your 6-sided breathing, you have lazy 8 breathing, and then a calming sequence so that you can do here. So that's the incredible 5-point scale. And then they talk about size of the problem, big versus little problems. And then they also have this like huge problem, medium problem, little problem, tiny problem work too. So you'll see that like a lot of this research is used in other materials that you'll find. So I found many like self-regulation things that support like other things. So here is Superflex, which is supported with the zones of regulation too. So you'll find all different stuff. So, and then this is our approaching the finish line with tools. So then it has a tool menu. So I provide it with these with kids to take it home, like on a lanyard, and then with different strategies. And I've also provided them for schools too. So really looking at what strategies and then which tools can they use for each zone. So as you can imagine, like a lot of this is very individualized and really based on what a kid needs. And then also these are used, I use these more so for my higher functioning kiddos. And then there's some tracking sheets in the back too, of like, did it work? Is it helpful? Those kind of things. So really focus on what your kid needs in terms of this. Some kids need to start really on that just emotional identification piece. And really like, what can I use to calm down whenever I'm in a certain area? And that's like something you can definitely ask me about too, if you have any questions, and then we can tag team on like, okay, like this is something that we should do with this kid that's really like aggressive when he gets upset, and like what kind of strategy should we do for that. But the zones of regulation really are a great way to like get kids identifying areas. Really remember, like if you have gone through the zones of regulation and you've gone through alert program, you have kids that can label emotions, that they're really good at it, but then in the moment they do not realize that they're escalating. That's a time when we need to look at interoception and when we need a shift there. So really keep that in mind too. But thanks for listening, guys. Hope that helped with zones of regulation. And these binders will be on our shelf on the left-hand side for you all.